Where's my brother, Dr. Douglas?
He's on his way back from X-ray.
How's he doing?
I would say that he's doing much, much better.
Well, then why did you want to see me?
Because I think that we've discovered the cause of Billy Joe's mysterious seizures. At least the most recent one.
What?
An antibiotic called trachomycin.
An antibiotic?
Yeah. Now, the question is, how in the world did Billy Joe ever get a hold of it? Hi, Dad.
Oh, hello, Dennis. Oh, where's Dr. Jeffries? I wanted to see him and thank him again for everything he's done for us.
I was with him a minute ago, but he had to answer a page.
Oh, too bad.
He asked you to give him a call later.
Oh, all right. Well, do you want to get something to eat, or do you want to go straight home?
Well, not really very hungry right now.
Well, it's a little early for dinner. Maybe a sandwich or something.
Well, if it's all the same to you, I'd just as soon go straight home.
Sure.
I would like to go to KVIK later, though, if that's okay with you.
Sure. I've got a few things to finish up, and then I'm yours for the evening.
Oh, good.
Mr. Carrington left about 30 minutes ago. He should be back shortly.
Then I'll just wait here if that's all right.
It's fine.
Thank you.
Where Barrett Marshall and his son are staying?
They were staying at the motel over on Mountain Road, but I think they moved to a ranch.
Oh, what ranch, do you know?
No,
Have you ever seen Barrett in here with anyone besides Steve?
no. Oh, wait, maybe.
Was this someone who lives in town or nearby?
John Granville. He was in here with John Granville. They were having a cup of coffee a couple of days ago. They seemed like they were real good friends.
Do you know someone named John Granville?
I don't remember that name.
You sure that's the right name?
Oh, yeah, I've known Mr. Granville all my life.
Do you know where he's staying?
He's got a big spread about 15 miles from here.
Your place reminds me of the Marshall Ranch.
A few more hills, I expect.
Yes, that's true.
Thank you, Mrs. Granville.
How do you like your new home?
It's nice.
You enrolled in school yet?
Yeah. Talk to the principal. Steve's going to start school tomorrow.
Now, would anybody like to come with me down to the stables and see the new foal?
Yes, I'd like to go.
I have to shoot a few baskets. I haven't practiced in a while.
You know, our basketball team could use some help this season.
You know, I don't think that basketball hoop out back has a net on it anymore.
Oh, that's okay. Thanks again for the milk and cookies.
You certainly are a polite young man.
My mom and grandma taught me.
Well, they ought to be very proud of you.
I hope so.
Texas, starring Beverly McKinsey.
I don't understand, Dr. Douglas. If this trachomycin is the cause of all the trouble I've been having here, I mean, how did it get into me?
Well, Billy Joe, that's what we're trying to find out right now.
Well, is this trachomycin usually administered in pill form, or is it given by shots?
Judging by the reaction Billy Joe's had, I would have to say that it was taken orally.
Well, wait a minute. I never took any of this trachomycin.
Are you currently taking any kind of medication at all, Billy Joe?
Well, they asked me that the other day when I came in to take the test. I told them I wasn't.
Well, you know, it's not unusual for a person who's been given a number of prescriptions over a long period of time to take the wrong one accidentally.
But I haven't been taking anything.
How did they determine that it was trachomycin that was causing Billy Joe's trouble?
Well, we ran a blood serum and it showed up.
Well, wait a minute. I just don't get it. I mean, how could I be taking this stuff without even knowing it?
Well, if you're not currently under any medication, I would have to say that someone's been slipping it into your food.
My food?
Mm-hmm. Either that or into something you've had to drink.
Oh, wouldn't I have tasted it?
No, trachomycin is tasteless.
Well, then, if I understand you correctly, Doctor, what you're saying is that somebody is trying to poison my brother.
That's putting it a little bit dramatically.
But basically, that is what you're trying to tell us, ain't it?
Yes, Billy Joe. Basically, that is what I'm trying to tell you.
Drive down Mountain Road about 15 miles, and you'll see a filling station and a grocery store here on the right.
Okay.
And then you take a right there, go down half a mile, then you'll be on Granville property, and you keep going down that road, and you'll see the big house.
Okay, well, thank you very much.
Sure. Well, listen, whenever you want to order, just holler.
Okay, let's get going.
Wait a minute, honey. We don't know that Barrett and Steve are there.
Well, let's go find out.
Let's just think for a minute.
About what?
About this Granville fellow. We just don't know who he is.
Honey, what difference does it make?
Listen, if he's a friend of Barrett's, he might try to protect him.
All right, then let's call the police.
Honey, the police aren't going to do us any good.
Barrett kidnapped my son.
Steve went with Barrett willingly.
He didn't go of his own free will. Barrett tricked him into believing that I didn't want him anymore. He forged that letter. Now that's criminal, isn't it?
Barrett did not break the law, and I just don't think the police are going to be able to help us.
Okay. What do we do now?
Okay, I'm going to call Granville. I'm going to have him come into town and talk to us.
Are you going to tell him why we're here?
No, he might not come. Miss.
Ready to order now?
Yeah, I'd like steak, medium rare, baked potatoes, string beans. My wife would like a baked chicken.
Is it chicken on the dinner or a la carte?
That'll be on the dinner. Do you know what kind of horses Mr. Granville has?
Well, he raises mostly cattle.
But he must have some horses, right?
Yeah. I think he's gotten interested in Morgan mares recently. I believe he has a few of those. There be anything else?
No, thank you, not right now.
What are you up to?
I'm going to call Mr. Granville and tell him that I have some Morgan mares for sale.
Rehearsal's at 3, Bo.
I know. I heard you the first time.
I suggest you get here early so you can go over the material with Andy first.
Yes, sir. I think everything's going to work out just fine for everybody concerned. Ricky and Elena Decker are going to be singing songs by Bo Baker. And Bo Baker's going to be very nicely paid by Ricky Decker's manager, Ruby Wright.
Just be here before 3.
Sure thing, boss.
Now, if you'll excuse me, I have some work to do.
Hey, don't rush off on my account. Hey, you've been working all day. Isn't it time for a little relaxation?
I can't leave here until I get everything all set for tomorrow.
I was kind of looking forward to you coming home with me tonight.
Well, you'll have to look forward to something else because I can't do that.
Tired of sleeping alone, really.
Get a dog. I got my own apartment.
All right, then I can come there.
No, you can't.
I can.
I live with Ricky.
So, that's the way it is.
That's the way it is.
And does Ricky Decker know he's living with a married woman?
Dr. Melton, 392.
Bo.
What's up?
Those tests that they did on Billy Joe showed that he'd been given a drug called trachomycin.
That's so. Well, the miracles of modern medicine never cease.
Okay. But the doctor's calling in the Houston police.
What for?
Billy Joe is being poisoned, remember? They have to call the police.
You worried?
Yeah, I'm worried. Just wish we could get Phil Roberts off the show and just put an end to all of this.
How's Billy Joe doing now?
It's better. Don't you dare give him any more of that stuff. He's been through enough already.
Hey, Pumpkin. Getting Phil Roberts off that show is just as important to Billy Joe as it is to you and me.
Yeah, but there's one difference. You and I aren't being poisoned.
You keep using that word. Trachomycin is not a poison. And besides, it can't do Billy Joe any real harm in the doses that I'm giving him.
You better be right about that, Bo. Oh, I just want all this to end.
Well, I'm sure that all three of us do. Now,
Cut it out.
Ricky's not around.
No, but this is a hospital. It's a public place, and I don't like it.
No law against a man being affectionate with his wife.
Only if the wife wants it, and I don't. Besides, nobody knows that you are my husband.
That don't mean nothing to me. Besides, Ruby, I miss you. I miss you a lot. I lie there in bed at night thinking about you, realizing you're lying right next to Ricky Decker.
Yeah, well, right now we've got some business to attend to.
Yeah, well, I know some business I'd like to attend to right now.
Just remember, you're the one that's saying that I owe you money.
It is money that you owe me.
I'm going to pay you, Bo, but I got to do it in a way that Ricky doesn't suspect. I've got to get you a job on the Phil Roberts show. And that means we got to get rid of Phil Roberts.
Well, then maybe we'll just pay Phil Roberts a little visit. We'll tell him that we're on to him. And that if he doesn't stop doing what he's doing, we're going to turn him into the police.
Yeah, but there's one flaw in that plan.
What?
Phil knows that he didn't give Billy Joe any trachomycin.
Yeah, but he's not going to be able to prove that.
What if he tries?
Then we'll frame him. Just plant some of the pills on him. Oh, you just leave everything to me, Pumpkin.
Looks like somebody is keeping you well stocked in Crossword Puzzle magazine.
That's Dad. He's paying me back for all the crossword puzzles I loaded him down with when he was in the hospital.
I hope you don't stay in here long enough to read all of those.
Oh, I don't think there's any danger of that. So how's everything going at the boutique?
Oh, all right.
When's the grand opening?
In a week.
I understand my mother's been giving you some trouble.
Did Elliot tell you that?
I saw the Phil Roberts show yesterday. Look, I'm sorry.
Can't blame you for Iris's obsessions.
Well, I still feel slightly to blame for all of it. Has she tried anything else?
I'd really rather not talk about it, Dennis.
I want to help, Paige. I mean that. Look, I'll talk to my mother.
No, please. I don't think that would be a good idea.
Do you remember when we first met at the Top of the World Club?
Seems like years ago, doesn't it?
Did you love me then?
I came to love you, Dennis.
But you didn't love me at first. You married me for my money?
Hate me, don't you?
I don't hate you. But it does make me angry to think I was used.
I understand. And I think I deserve your anger.
Oh, please, Paige. Don't put all the blame and guilt on yourself. That's what I'm doing here. I'm trying to figure out what my part in all of this was. I'm trying to understand why I did the things I did.
All right. But you have to believe something, Dennis.
What?
That I loved you very much. And in a very different way. I still love you now.
Yeah. Well, right now, I don't feel like someone to be loved.
Paige?
Hi. How did you know I was here?
One of the girls told me.
Well, I took the liberty of waiting in your office. I hope you don't mind.
Of course not. I'm glad you did.
You seem to be in a very cheerful mood today.
I am in a cheerful mood. Dennis checked out of the hospital this afternoon.
Oh, Elliot, that's wonderful.
I just dropped him off by his apartment.
How is he?
I think he's doing remarkably well.
Good. I'm really glad to hear that.
I know you are.
Will he be coming back to work here at KVIK?
I'm not sure. I don't want to push him. Vicky has already told him that his job is ready and waiting for him anytime he wants.
Elliot, do you think I'd be out of place if I asked him to the opening of the boutique tomorrow?
No, I don't think you'd be out of place at all.
Well, I don't want to do anything that might upset him.
Well, would you like for me to pass the invitation along to him?
Yes, thank you. If I ask him directly, he may feel obligated, but if it comes from you, then he can let you know whether he wants to come or not.
Okay. How are the preparations going? Are you going to be ready for the opening tomorrow?
Yes. One of the reasons I came is because I have a problem. Out of the over 500 invitations that we mailed out, only a handful have responded.
Iris.
I'm afraid so. I'm wondering if it's worth it to even have an opening.
Of course it's worth it.
But if only 10 or 15 people show up, Ellie, it's going to look ridiculous. I don't know. Maybe I should just close page 1 even before I open.
I'm sorry to see you so discouraged, Paige, but I don't think that closing the boutique is the answer.
Boy, Iris sure did her work. Nita and I have been on the phone for almost 2 days. Every person we reach, she's gotten there first.
Do people tell you that they've talked to Iris?
Oh, no. She's much too clever for that. But I know her work when I see it.
I suspect you're right.
I'm so discouraged, Elliot. I have worked so hard for this. But I keep telling myself there's no use fighting anymore.
Thank you.
Did you talk with Mr. Randall?
No, he's not in right now.
Will he be back there soon?
His wife's gonna have him call me here.
Did you tell her what you wanted?
Yeah, she seemed real excited. I think there's a real good chance he'll drive in and see me.
Well, suppose that he wants you to come out to the ranch.
Well, then I'll just tell him a car broke down.
Okay, I'm gonna call Kate and tell her the good news, and you better call the pilot.
What for?
Well, if we get a chance to talk to Stephen, then we'll be able to take him home with us tonight.
Honey, slow down. Now, Steve, we haven't found him yet. I don't want you building yourself up for a big disappointment.
I'm not going to be disappointed.
We've become close before and we've lost him, right?
But Barrett's at the ranch. He's turned in the rental car, and he doesn't even know that we're here in Edmonds.
I know. Just take things one step at a time and don't get your hopes up, okay?
I'm gonna call Kate anyway, though.
Oh, listen. Yeah, call her collect and I'll pay her back, all right? Here you go.
Miss, I was talking to the man who just left, and he said that Mr. Granville hired on a Mr. Marshall, and that they were in the Army together in Vietnam. Mr. Marshall's going to live in Mr. Granville's brother's house on the ranch.
Are you sure?
The man works for Mr. Granville's brother in the hardware store, so, I mean, it seems like he'd know what he's talking about, don't you think?
Thank you very much. You've been real helpful.
Keep my ears open.
Thanks. Let's drive out to the ranch right now.
No, I want to talk to Granville first.
Okay, I'll call Kate.
Okay.
Would you like to go around the corner and get something to eat?
No, thank you. I better get back to the boutique.
I wish there was something I could do to cheer you up.
You have cheered me up a little.
I guess the thing to do is just concentrate on the work and try to forget about everything else.
The trouble is concentrating.
Oh, you can do it.
If the opening's a flop, what's the use?
Well, you don't know if the opening is going to be a flop. It may be a roaring success. That's what I'm betting on.
Okay. I will try and be optimistic.
Good. Come in.
Oh, Elliot, I'm sorry. I didn't mean to interrupt.
No, you're not. Come in.
Hello,
Hi,
Paige.
Vicky.
Elliot, I thought you'd like to see the report on the news quiz for the month of October.
Oh, I certainly would.
What's the news quiz?
Well, every week our news department makes up a questionnaire on the news, and then we make it available to the junior high and the high schools in the area, and the response has been wonderful.
That sounds like a wonderful idea.
It was Elliot's idea.
No. I just heard about it and thought we should give it a try.
Well, I better be getting back to the boutique.
Well, if you decide that you're hungry later, give me a call, will you?
Okay. Nice to see you, Vicky.
Bye-bye.
Bye-bye, Paige.
Oh, she's worried that the opening of her boutique is going to be a disaster.
Why?
Because of Iris. She's calling all of her friends and telling them to decline the invitation to the opening, not to shop there.
Oh, I'm so sorry to hear that.
Paige needs those people as customers.
Oh, but Elliot, surely people aren't going to stay away just because Iris asks them to stay away.
Iris is bound and determined to ruin Paige. And when she makes up her mind to do something, she usually succeeds.
Yes, she usually does.
Well, you're doing much, much better.
Does that mean I can go home?
I would like for you to spend one more night in the hospital, just for observation.
But, just one, huh?
Yeah, just tonight. Then you should be able to go home tomorrow morning.
Well, that's good, because a friend of mine's opening up a boutique tomorrow, and it's very important for me to be there.
Ah.
Oh, come on, man. Give me a break.
It isn't my old friend, Billy Joe Wright.
That Joe Foster case is closed.
Now, hold on, Billy.
Now, look, I told you everything I know about that Joe Foster guy, and I'm not going to say another word.
I'm not here to talk about Joe Foster.
Detective Michaels is with the Houston Police Department.
Houston?
I quit the New York Police Department.
Why?
I liked it so much in Houston, I decided to stay. I applied to the Houston Police Department, and they accepted. And I have you to thank for it.
Great. That's just great. Here I am back from death's doorstep to find you on my case.
I talked to the lab.
And?
Well, that water pitcher on Billy Joe's table did have trichomycin in it. They're running a check now for prints.
Somebody here in the hospital's trying to kill me?
Well, if somebody's trying to kill you, Billy Joe, they're doing a very poor job.
Yeah, well, they put that poison in my water pitcher, didn't they?
Billy Joe, you could have drunk all the water in that pitcher and you'd still be alive.
Are you sure?
I'm positive.
Well, why'd they do it?
Our guess is that someone is trying to scare you for some reason or other.
Why?
We don't know. Our job now is to find out who that person is.
How are things at home?
Oh, Kate was so excited about us finding Stephen.
How's Lurleen?
She's better. She slept most of the day. Rena's with her now.
Did you talk to Rena?
Of course. She sends her love. Kate told me that the car rental people called and told us that Barrett had returned the car. I said we already knew that. I'm glad they kept their word.
There's a phone call for you, Mr. Connor.
Thank you. Hello?
Your order will be ready in a minute.
Thanks.
Oh, Mr. Granville, I understand you're in the market for some Morgan mares.
Yes, I am.
Well, I have some stock I'd like to talk to you about. Could we get together tonight?
Well, why don't you come out to the ranch?
I'd really like to. My car broke down. It's in the garage right now for repairs. I'm in the coffee shop on Main Street, if you could come over here.
How long are you going to be in town?
I'm gonna have to leave first thing in the morning.
Okay, I'll drive on into the coffee shop and we'll have a talk.
Okay, great. I'll be here. Thank you. He's coming into town.
I'm going into town to talk to this Ryan Connor about the Morgan mares.
What's wrong, John?
I'm not sure, but I think this Mr. Connor doesn't know the first thing about Morgan mares. Can't figure what he's up to.
And I want that list of names in 5 minutes. If I don't get them in 5 minutes, you can look for another job. You understand? Frank, do you hear me? Imbecile.
How'd the show go this afternoon?
Went just fine. That brother of yours should only stay in the hospital room.
You'd like that, wouldn't you?
Wouldn't break my heart.
The police have been called in on Billy Joe's case.
Police? What for?
They found what you're using to poison my brother.
Now, Ruby, you know that's not true. You try to hang that on me and I'll nail you to the wall.
You and who else?
I know too much about you, Ruby.
Nothing you can prove.
If I wanted to get rid of your brother, I wouldn't go around sneaking behind his back to do it.
I think that's exactly how you'd do it. You better watch out before they catch you.
I think you have a pretty good idea who it was that put the Trachomycin in your water glass here at the hospital.
I might, but I'm not saying.
You're not being very cooperative.
Look, Dr. Douglas just said that whoever it was didn't give me enough of that stuff to do any damage, and you said yourself all they're trying to do is to scare me.
What I said, Billy Joe, was it was our guess.
Yeah. Well, Billy Joe Wright don't scare that easy.
Might have been just a warning, too.
Well, I can handle it. It's not going to happen again.
Had to be somebody who had access to your hospital room and to the studio.
That could be lots of people.
Well, not really.
What do you mean?
Well, as I see it, only your sister, that client of hers, Bo Baker, and Phil Roberts were in both places.
Yeah, but you're forgetting those girls that were here, my fans. Sure, yeah, they're always hanging around KVIK, and every time I step outside the door, they're always there asking for autographs.
Big difference.
Why?
They don't have access to the studio. They're always outside.
Well, they could have paid somebody to do it for them.
Now, you don't believe that's what happened any more than I do, Billy Joe.
That's right, I don't believe that's what happened. But you ought to know me well enough to know that I'm not going to rat on anybody.
Billy Joe...
Now, look, I tell you, I can handle this whole situation here. As long as they keep on telling me that the stuff that they put in my water wasn't poison, I can handle it.
I appreciate you coming into town and talking to us.
You're Barrett's ex-wife.
Yes, I am. How did you know that?
Barrett and I were stationed together in Vietnam. I saw your picture every day for a year. No way I could forget such a beautiful face.
Thank you.
Well, I guess you've obviously realized that we didn't ask you here to talk about horses.
I figured that out on the phone.
You see, Ginny and I are married now, and Barrett's tricked Steve into believing that Ginny doesn't love him and that we don't want him.
Barrett told me he had custody of Steve.
No, that's not true.
How is Stephen?
Seems fine. A little shy, but seems in real good health.
Does he seem happy?
He's not particularly happy, no. Something kind of sad about him, come to think of it.
Mr. Granville, Barrett is not well. He's been under psychiatric care for quite some time now.
I suppose you know he was in a Cambodian prison camp for 5 years.
I know something about it. He didn't want to discuss it.
And everyone thought he was dead.
I did too.
I didn't want to accept that. And when I finally did, Ryan and I met after that and fell in love. We were going to be married, but suddenly Barrett returned home.
Did Barrett know about the wedding?
I explained everything to him. Then I decided to cancel my engagement to Ryan and chose to stay with Barrett.
And Barrett never forgave Ginny for giving up on him and falling in love with me.
I'm not surprised at his reaction.
I honestly tried to make that marriage work.
In Vietnam, I never had a conversation with Barrett that he didn't mention you. It was like an obsession. I know how much he loved you.
Well, as much as he loved me then, he hates me now. All he wants to do is hurt me, and that's why he's taken Steve away from me.
Steve seems to have gone willingly.
Barrett tricked him.
He found an old letter that Ginny had written to him the day that she discovered that she was pregnant with Steve.
The first page of the letter was news about the ranch and the fact that I was pregnant. The second page was all about how happy we'd be and how many children we'd have.
So he substituted the first page. And he wrote about how Ginny didn't love Steve and that there was no room in her life for him anymore and that she was going to devote her life to me and raising our children.
He gave Steve the letter the day that Ryan and I got married. At a time when Steve was particularly vulnerable. And Steve believed it.
It doesn't sound like something Barrett would do. Certainly not to his own son.
He's changed, Mr. Grant. He's ill. All he cares about is hurting me. I don't think he even cares about Stephen. I want my son back. Will you help us?
Steve, it's getting cold out. You know, you better put a hat on.
I'm fine. Is Mr. Granville and Dad back yet?
Mr. Granville went into town to meet with a man from Texas about some horses.
Texas?
Looks like we're being invaded by Texans, doesn't it?
They breed a lot of good horses in Texas.
Well,
you should have seen some of them on the Marshall Ranch.
This Mr. Connor apparently has some Morgan mares he's interested in selling us.
Connor?
Yes, Ryan Connor. Don't tell me you know this man.
I think I do, Mrs. Granville.
What makes you think so?
Well, my mom married a man named Ryan Connor.
Did he raise horses?
No.
Then it must be someone else.
So Paige thinks that Iris is calling all of her friends and telling them not to attend the opening of the boutique.
That's my fault.
Oh, what makes you think that?
Well, Mom's trying to ruin Paige for me.
Iris has never liked Paige. I suspect she has her own reasons.
Yeah, as usual, she thinks she's doing me a favor.
Well, you don't approve of what she's doing.
No. Look, Dad, I don't know what my feelings are for Paige right now, but I certainly don't want to see her boutique ruined. At least I've come that far.
Well, some people always fail to respond to an invitation, you know.
Who are you trying to convince? You or me?
Well, all I meant is that there may be more people there than Paige thinks there will be.
Look, Dad, we have to make sure that this opening is a success.
Well, I'd like to, but apart from going there ourselves, what can we do?
Oh, well, we can invite people from Los Angeles, New York, Dallas, and New Orleans. We'll charter them in on a plane if we have to.
Dennis.
Look, you know a lot of very important people. Publishers, writers. Well, they wouldn't mind coming to an opening if they thought they'd have a good time and it wouldn't cost them anything.
Well, I suppose a lot of them are crazy enough to do it.
Well, then let's do it.
Dennis, do you have any idea how much this is going to cost?
Look, I don't care how much it's cost. I mean, I've got more money than I know what to do with. I might as well put it to good advantage.
Well, son, I admire your wanting to help Paige.
Look, Dad, if we pick the people up and drive them to the airport, they'll be more willing to come, won't they?
I guess so.
Well, then, let's make it as easy for them as we can. What do you think?
Why are you doing this?
Dad, I've caused Paige a lot of pain. And I'm sorry for that. If I can make up for it, I certainly want to try.
I owe Barrett. He saved my life in Vietnam.
I understand your loyalty, Mr. Granville, and I admire that. But my son's future is at stake here.
He's Barrett's son, too. Now, you're going to be doing him a great favor. He may not appreciate it right now.
That's just it. He is Barrett's son.
I don't think Barrett's capable of taking care of Stephen. He needs psychiatric help. And in the long run, he may damage Steve emotionally.
It would be a tragedy if Steve continued to think that his own mother didn't love him and wanted to abandon him.
All I'm asking is a chance to see Steve and talk to him so I can explain to him what's happened.
And after that?
If Stephen chooses to stay with Barrett, after that, then I'll just have to deal with it.
I don't think he will choose to stay with Barrett once he knows the truth.
I understand that they're staying out at your brother's house on your ranch?
Yes, that's true.
May we go out there? And could you find some way for us to talk to Steve without Barrett being around?
I'd really like to help.
Mr. Granville, Stephen wrote this letter to his grandmother.
Dear Grandma, Dad and I are fine. I miss you and Buddy and Rena. Most of all, I miss Mom. She doesn't want me to live with her anymore, but I want you to tell her that I love her. I'll write again soon.
I hope that proves we're telling the truth.
There's a lot of pain and confusion in this letter.
Yes, there is.
I need to reassure him, Mr. Granville.
Yes. You do. Let's go talk to Steve.
Thank you.
Where is Mr. Granville meeting this Mr. Connor?
At the coffee shop on Main Street.
Well, could you drive me into the coffee shop?
Well, I don't think this is the Mr. Connor you know, honey.
Suppose it is, though.
Well, that would be quite a coincidence, wouldn't it?
Maybe I could borrow one of the horses, ride it in by myself. Would that be all right?
Where do you want to go, Steve?
To the coffee shop in town.
We're going to have supper out here, son.
Well, there's a Mr. Connor there talking to John, and Steve seems to think it might be the man who married his mother.
What are you talking about?
Well, this man called John about selling him some horses. He's from Texas, and his name is Ryan Connor.
Did he say anything about having his wife with him?
No.
We better get back to the house and do something about supper.
Dad.
Now, let's go, son. Let's go.
Dad, get these public relations people to line up their celebrity clients.
Well, we're not giving these people very much time.
Well, let's get them to make it sound like fun, an all-expense-paid party with no notice.
Well, I guess that will appeal to some of them.
Well, we've got to do it. We haven't got any choice.
All right.
Well, hi, Dennis. How are you feeling?
Much better, thanks, Vicky.
It's good to see you back.
It's good to be back.
Dennis, you know your old job is waiting for you as soon as you feel well enough to come back full time.
Well, I know that, and I appreciate it. Thank you.
All right, if there's anything I can do, you just let me know.
Will do. Oh, Vicky!
Yes?
Dad and I are working on a little project, and there is something you might be able to do for us.
Well, what is it?
Well, Page's Boutique is opening tomorrow night.
Yes, I know.
Well, Dad and I are trying to get as many people there as we can, and we were wondering if the station might have a VIP list that we could use.
Here in Houston?
Well, it doesn't matter where they live. As long as they enjoy parties and want to spend their money at the boutique, I am flying in all of the people and arranging for limousine service and all that.
Well, good for you, Dennis. Go and ask Meredith. She'll be in the office for a while longer.
Okay, I'll do that. Thank you very much.
I think he's going to be all right.
So do I.
Some of my men have been doing some checking around the studio.
So?
Seems you and Phil Roberts didn't get along too well.
Phil Roberts didn't get along with anybody at the studio, so it doesn't mean a thing.
Oh, might mean more than you think.
Look, I'm telling you, you're just wasting your time.
I don't think so.
Now, look, I told you everything I'm going to tell you. Now, I can take care of this whole situation myself, so I'd appreciate it if you just butt out.
It's for you, Detective Michaels.
Thank you.
Doctor, couldn't I go home tonight?
Billy Joe, I advise you very strongly to spend one more night here in the hospital, just for observation. And barring any unforeseen complications, you should be able to go home in the morning.
Well, that's good. I got to be at Paige Carrington's opening tomorrow afternoon, so that should give me some time. Do things I got to do.
Okay, that's good. Send me a written report as soon as you can. Fine. Okay, bye-bye. The lab has finished running a check on those prints on the water picture.
What'd they find out?
Aside from the assorted prints from the staff, there was a perfectly usable set from one Philip Roberts.
Now, wait a minute. How can they be so sure those prints belong to Phil Roberts?
Oh, we have a set of his prints on file.
From what?
A drunken driving conviction several years ago.
Well, I've said everything I'm going to say on the subject.
So did you talk to Phil Roberts?
Just a few minutes ago.
Well, what'd he say?
He won't quit.
Damn it. Did you tell him that the police have been called in and that trachomycin's been isolated as the drug that Billy Joe's been given?
I did, but he said he didn't know anything about trachomycin.
Well, what difference does that make?
He says he's never heard of it, says he's never taken it.
And he doesn't think they can link him to the poisoning of Billy Joe just because the two of them didn't get along.
Yeah, well, there's one thing that Bill Roberts is not thinking about. He has himself a motive.
I don't think that's going to change his mind, Bo.
Oh, I think we're going to see a big change in Mr. Roberts' attitude when they find some of them pills in his possession.
Maybe.
Only thing now is how to plant them on him. Ricky expecting you back at the apartment anytime soon?
Not until after the show.
Good. In that case, why don't you and I adjourn to my place? And we'll start thinking things over. I'm sure that we can come up with something.
I got work to do at the coop, Bo.
And since when does business come before pleasure?
So Steve was right.
Right about what?
Well, I told him about John meeting Mr. Connor at the coffee shop. He seemed positive that it was the same Ryan Connor who married his mother.
So Steve and Barrett aren't in the house?
I don't know where they are.
Did Barrett know that I was going to meet John?
Well, yes, but he seemed sure that you weren't the same Ryan Connor.
Mrs. Granville, I got your message that the furnace was acting up again.
Oh, yes, it is.
Smokey, did you see Barrett Marshall in the last hour or so?
Well, sure. I drove him and his kid into town.
Where?
The motel, over on Mountain Road. Stevie talked the whole time about meeting somebody he knew from Texas.
Why do we have to leave the motel so fast and come to the bus station?
I wish you'd stop asking so many questions.
I thought you said we were going to meet Ryan at the motel.
He checked out.
How do you know that?
I just know it.
But you didn't even talk to the man at the desk.
I said he checked out. That should be good enough for you.
Yes, sir. Where are we going? Back to the ranch?
I don't know yet.
Dad!
Just sit there and be quiet. Have to think things through.
Join us each weekday at this time for the continuing story of Texas.